When the Johnson family moved into their new house, they were excited about the prospect of starting a new life together. As they were exploring the house, they discovered an old attic filled with old furniture and boxes. As they were sorting through the items, they found an old, worn-out doll with strange symbols etched into its porcelain skin. At first, they thought it was just a creepy antique, but soon they realized that it was not just any doll. Strange things started to happen around the house. The doll seemed to move on its own, and they could hear whispers coming from the attic. As the days went on, the family became more and more paranoid, as they were convinced that the doll was alive, and one night they woke up to find the doll sitting at the foot of their bed, with a wicked smile on its face. They tried to get rid of it, but it kept reappearing, no matter how many times they threw it away. The family soon realized that the doll was possessed by an evil entity, and it was not going to let them go. It wanted to take over their bodies and souls, and use them as vessels to carry out its evil deeds. In the end, the family was trapped in their own home, with no escape from the demonic doll that had taken over their lives. The doll had claimed another victim, and it was not going to stop until it had consumed everything in its path. The Johnson family's fate was sealed, and their once happy home was now a house of horrors. Emma had been searching for the perfect antique mirror to complete her room's aesthetic for months, and finally stumbled upon the perfect one in a thrift store. The frame was ornate and beautifully crafted, and the glass was old and slightly warped. She was ecstatic to bring it home. But as soon as she hung it on the wall, strange things started happening. She would catch glimpses of movement in the reflection, but when she turned around, no one was there. Her dreams were filled with disturbing images, and she often woke up feeling as though she was being watched. One night, as Emma was getting ready for bed, she caught sight of a figure standing behind her in the mirror. But when she turned around, no one was there. She reached out to touch the reflection, and her hand went straight through the glass. Suddenly, a cold wind swept through the room, and the mirror began to glow. Emma watched in horror as a shadowy figure emerged from the glass, its eyes fixed on her. It spoke in a whisper, "I've been waiting for you." And then it vanished, leaving Emma alone with the haunted mirror. As the days went by, the mirror's influence on Emma grew stronger. She became distant and paranoid, and soon stopped leaving her room altogether. One day, her parents found her dead in front of the mirror, her eyes fixed on her reflection. The antique mirror had claimed another victim. As the new owners of the mirror hung it on their wall, they couldn't help but feel drawn to its eerie presence. Little did they know the mirror had already chosen its next victim. Layla's heart raced as she heard the ringing of her phone late at night. She picked up the phone to hear a familiar voice on the other end, the voice of her late husband, Jack. Layla was startled, wondering if it was a prank call. Jack had died in a car accident a year ago. How could it be him? But the voice on the phone was unmistakably his, asking her to meet him at their favorite restaurant. Layla was hesitant, but her love for Jack made her want to believe that it was really him. She put on her coat and headed towards the restaurant. As she approached the restaurant, she saw the silhouette of a man standing under the streetlight. She could barely make out his face. But as she got closer, she realized that it was Jack. Layla was overjoyed to see her husband again, but something was off about him. His skin was pale, and his eyes had a cold, lifeless stare. They went inside the restaurant, but it was empty, and the atmosphere was eerie. Jack asked her to sit down and began to talk about his life after death. He revealed that he was now a part of a sinister group of beings who had found a way to communicate with the living. They had been watching Layla and were intrigued by her love for Jack. Layla realized in horror that Jack was no longer the man she loved, but a vessel for these otherworldly creatures. As Jack's body began to contort and twist, Layla realized that she was in danger. She tried to run, but it was too late. She became the next victim of the beings, trapped in a never-ending cycle of death and rebirth, always being brought back to life by the creatures just to be killed again. In the end, Layla's love for Jack had led her down a path of eternal suffering and horror, as she became nothing more than a plaything for these beings from beyond the veil. When Hannah and James moved into their new house, they were excited to start their new life together. As they were unpacking their boxes, they noticed a strange door hidden behind a bookcase. Curiosity getting the best of them, they decided to investigate. As they opened the door, they were greeted with a dark, dusty room. At first, they thought it was just an old storage room, but as they explored further, they found a strange altar with ancient symbols etched into the walls. Suddenly, the room started to shake, and the symbols on the walls began to glow. Hannah and James realized that they had stumbled upon something sinister. As they tried to leave the room, the door slammed shut, trapping them inside. They heard whispers in the darkness and felt a cold, chilling breath on their necks. They realized that they were not alone in the room. A dark, shadowy figure appeared in front of them, with eyes that seemed to pierce their souls. The figure revealed that the room was a portal to another dimension, and they had accidentally awakened an ancient evil that had been dormant for centuries. The couple tried to fight back, but it was too late. The evil entity had taken control of their minds and bodies, forcing them to perform unspeakable acts. As the days went on, the couple became more and more consumed by the darkness until they were no longer themselves. In the end, the room had claimed another victim, and the couple had become nothing more than vessels for the evil that resided within. The house had a secret, and it was one that would never be revealed to the outside world.